Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Glass Seats podcast. This is our show where two hockey aficionados discuss their perspectives on headlines surrounding the NHL, including recent stories, game highlights, league culture, and other topics trending amongst the fans. This is Viddy.
My name is Mrinal, and this week in hockey, it's going to be an episode about epic highs and some pretty bad lows.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We've got some really good on-ice stories, some feel-good stories with the New York Islanders and the Edmonton Oilers. Mm-hmm. But we do have to address the biggest story in hockey this week, which is the 2018 World Juniors Team Canada sexual assault case.
Yeah, the
which
scandal.
Has some updates that we need to go over.
Yeah, as of today, actually.
Yeah, so we are recording this on January 24th. Yeah. So all info we will say is up to date as of this date. Mm-hmm. And just this morning we had some news break on that. Yeah. We'll get to that at the end of the episode, but let's start with the good news, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Shall we start in New York Islanders?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it good news. Good news for one of these guys, I should say, actually. Yeah. But Lane Lambert was fired as head coach of the New York Islanders. Yeah. Replaced by the one and only Patrick Waugh.
I was very surprised by this. I'm still surprised by this, if I'm going to be totally honest. Especially working with Lou Lamoriello. Mm-hmm. Very interesting pairing.
I love Patrick Waugh. So
if
you don't want to talk about personalities in the NHL,
no, he's great.
This is one of them.
He's great. He's super entertaining, but I'm just, why? I mean, of all coaches, I don't know. I'm very shocked by this. Jay Woodcroft was still on the table. So.
Yeah, isn't Gerard Gallant still on the table?
Is he?
No one's hired him.
Yeah. So Patrick Waugh, maybe they need to strike some passion into the locker room, into the Islanders locker room. And I don't know. I'm very surprised. They were a competitive playoff team only a couple seasons ago, deep playoff runs.
And this season they weren't bad. Yeah, but they weren't in the playoffs.
They were mediocre.
They were they might have been able to push for a wild card.
Yeah,
but I think Islanders fans want more than that now.
Yeah,
they had two conference final appearances.
And I think Tampa ran through both of them.
Yeah,
that Tampa team.
They seem to cap out at the conference final.
Yeah. So that's why I'm surprised that they chose to hire Patrick Waugh, who, at least as an NHL coach with the Avalanche, I'm not even sure if they made the playoffs, they didn't go very far.
Yeah,
and they weren't a legitimate threat. So
I mean, they had some good years, but also I don't think you can fully fault it on Patrick Waugh. Right? They had this team that was good, but not really that good. And then
Matt Duchene drama.
Ryan O'Reilly. Yeah. They had a lot of names, but the team just never came together. Yeah. And it wasn't until they gutted it and got some good picks. They got McKinnon, Cale Makar,
Bowen
Byram, made some good trades, you know, that they really became the Avalanche that we know today.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have that be Patrick Waugh's legacy, you know?
Yeah.
I think he's a better coach than that.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. And I mean, it's not that this is out of the blue. Sometimes you'll see in the NHL, like Wayne Gretzky, greatest player of all time, terrible coach. And sometimes teams will just pull out, a star hockey player just to see, you're like, screw it, whatever, we'll try it and see if it fits. This man has coached. This man has coached a lot before, and this is nothing new to him. So I'm interested to see how it goes. So far, they're 1-1-0.
Yeah, 2 games, 1 win, 1 loss.
Yeah, and the loss was to Vegas, so it's it wasn't a bottom feeder team by any means. So so far it's hard to say. It's 2 games, but
not enough sample size yet.
Yeah,
but I think what you said at the top of this of injecting some passion into the team, I think is right.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've watched Islanders games recently, but
they're a little boring.
Yeah. Not a little boring. They're kind of boring.
They're snooze fest. Okay. Yeah.
It's
only cool when Toronto comes to town and they're all pissed off, all the fans.
Yeah, the John Tavares and all that. Yeah, because there's a storyline there, right?
There's a storyline, but that's the only time.
When you're watching an average New York Islanders game, they play this very strong defensive style. They're totally fine winning games by 1 goal.
Yeah.
But they don't have that offensive flair that you see in a lot of NHL teams today.
Yeah.
They're not really that fast. Mm-hmm. They're just good at hockey, meat and potatoes,
and they have a couple star players here and there with Matt Barzal. I guess you can consider Anders Lee as a captain, but it's very defensive based and not offensively lacking, but it's just meat and potatoes. So
it's when you come home from the gym and you eat just chicken and rice.
Oh, literally today.
It's the best thing for you.
Yeah,
you will do really well.
Yeah.
but it's not exciting.
Yeah, but that's after enough of that, you're like, I'm going to order a crispy chicken sandwich on the weekend.
Yeah,
to change it up. Patrick Roy, is he the crispy chicken sandwich?
I wouldn't say he's like an entirely different dish. I say he's when you get fed up and add a little sriracha to your chicken and rice. Okay. He's a sriracha.
Oh yeah, he does provide that kick. Okay,
yeah. It's when you learn that you need more seasoning besides sea salt.
Yeah. And all of a sudden everything tastes better and starts clicking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now you're like, it becomes sustainable. So we'll see. We really compared one of the greatest goalies of all time to fucking sriracha, man.
Hey,
that's what this podcast has come to.
One of the greatest goalies of all time, one of the greatest sauces of all time.
Fair enough.
I think it's an apt comparison.
Okay, good. So not Cholula, not Tabasco.
No, sriracha's better than all of those. Okay. I am a sriracha man.
Okay, got it. Tell us how you really feel. All right. No. I'm interested to see how it goes, though. Sample size is too small.
It's something different for the Islanders, right? Yeah. Like, I know that they've had different head coaches, but it always ends up in the style of let's defend.
Yeah.
I think Patrick Roy can inject something different there. And ever since Tavares is gone, the Islanders haven't been exciting, right? No. Outside of Matt Barzal.
Yeah.
Who has hot seasons and cold seasons.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Isn't it a little bit ironic that their offensive is not bad necessarily, but they chose to hire the greatest goalie of all time, which is technically a defensive role?
Yeah, but like you said, how they play doesn't necessitate to how they coach.
Yeah.
And the thing you all remember about Patrick Roy is the passion.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if he's goaltending or if he's coaching.
Yeah.
This coach has gotten into arguments so many times.
Wasn't it like he almost murdered Bruce Boudreau?
Yeah, Bruce Boudreau, who was like the
nicest guy.
Yeah. And they got into a huge shouting match with him.
Yeah.
Like yelling across the benches.
I think it was warranted. It was a knee-on-knee hit on like a 2013 McKinnon. Yeah. I think it was kind of warranted.
Yeah, like this coach will stand up for his guys and everything. So having that passion in Long Island, I think, is a great thing.
It does match the fans' energy, now that you say that, yeah.
And sometimes it feels like Barzal is the only one showing that passion.
Yeah.
But somehow they win. Yeah. So having another personality in there, I think, is a great thing.
Almost like a John Tortorella type of hiring. Great coach, but it's more so the character and the energy he brings to a locker room that you really need that. It's invaluable. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about the other orange and blue team?
Wow, same colors. You're right.
Yeah. Great segue right there.
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Did not start the season well.
No. Terrible. Lost to the Sharks.
Fired Jay Woodcroft and hired Chris Knobloch.
Aren't they like, 23-2 or something like that? Or somewhere around that range?
Something like that since the hiring?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they are currently on a 13-game win streak.
Yeah. I think it's 14 now.
14 now?
I think it's 14 now, yeah.
So. This is the longest win stream by a Canadian team in NHL history.
Yeah. They're coming for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh holds the NHL record at 17, like the 90s Pittsburgh. I can't remember what year, but the 90s Pittsburgh team, the RoboPen team, they're at 17 and they're coming for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they can do it too. So.
And, not just that record, like McDavid is chasing down Kucherov for the scoring lead right now.
Yeah, it was like almost a 1-2 tie, or 1-2 battle between McKinnon and Kucherov.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, remember when we were talking about this, where he started off just like at 77th position or something?
Yeah.
Now he's like consistently putting up 2-3-point nights every night.
He's hauling them in.
Yeah.
Outside of injury, I don't think anyone's stopping the Oilers right now.
No. That being said, they did just sign Corey Perry.
Yeah.
Is that going to affect that? It could affect the locker room chemistry, but it seems to have worked for Evander Kane.
Let's talk about Corey Perry. If you guys don't remember, Corey Perry was terminated by the Blackhawks for misconduct-related reasons.
Yeah.
They never gave much more detail besides that.
Yeah, and I believe he checked himself into the NHL PA program, or he got his help as needed for substance abuse and mental health issues, and 2 months later, after a discussion with Gary Bettman, he was allowed to return to the league.
Yep. Gary Bettman had to give his okay, which is huge. I mean, does any other league have this? You have to go talk to the commissioner to see if you can play?
I
don't know. I just found that weird. I'm like, Gary Bettman is the last call on this?
I don't know. I feel like some leagues could. Didn't Adam Silver do that with the whole Ja Morant situation?
I don't follow the NBA enough. You let tell me.
Okay. Well, Ja Morant, he's the star player of the Grizzlies, and he was like, he had a problem like consistently flashing guns on Instagram Live, and got like super banned for it, and had to like talk to the Adam Silver, the commissioner. Yeah, it was a whole deal, but it feels like somewhat parallel to that, other than the fact that Corey Perry is much older and not a star player anymore.
Yeah.
So But he does bring that veteran presence, that grit that you really need.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like interested to see, like, did the Oilers even need him? Like, sure, it's a solid pickup, but did they need him? They're on a 14-game heater.
Yeah, I don't think you needed him to contribute, but having Perry
So then why pick him up at all?
Because it's the grit and veteran presence, right? That is a Stanley Cup winner.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone, like you said, is a huge veteran presence. And if the Edmonton Oilers have a fault, it's depth, right?
Do they, though?
Like, behind the top two lines, that would be where they're weaker, right? Like, I know we've talked about they've improved their depth in recent years.
Yeah.
But they're no LA Kings. They're no Vegas Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Could they win a cup without Corey Perry? Sure.
Yes,
does Corey Perry help? Maybe.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's good enough. He's on what? Not even $1 million contract.
Yeah. And to be fair, granted, they, again, not to keep mentioning them, but the Tampa Gauntlet that ran through Dallas and Montreal,
Mm-hmm.
Corey Perry was on the losing side of both teams. But hey, he got two teams who were not really expected to go to the finals, especially not Montreal, to the finals, right? So
yeah,
scoring some big goals too. He scored the Game 5 overtime winner against Tampa to kind of stave off that elimination,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he can show up still in big moments. So granted that the Oilers do make the playoffs, which I think they will at this point. It's kind of hard to stop them at this point.
They're already in the playoff spot and they're still winning.
Yeah. So Corey Perry being that guy in the playoffs could probably be the push they needed. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Not to mention, if the answer to do I need Corey Perry is maybe, isn't this the exact time to sign him? Almost a couple, 3 weeks, 4 weeks away from trade deadline.
Yeah.
And if you decide you don't need him, ship him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And it's a super cheap contract too.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, with all the publicity surrounding him this season, I don't think there's going to be any takers at the deadline, at least. So
okay, ship him to the AHL. What do you care?
Fair enough. Yeah. You're not losing anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I haven't looked at the contract details, but I'm assuming they didn't give him a no trade clause.
Mm-hmm.
If they did, fire the GM immediately. But
yeah, Ken Olin. Yeah.
Yeah. Try it. If it works, keep him. If not, set him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, if someone picks him up on waivers, you lost nothing to sign him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
this is the time to experiment, right?
Yeah.
And
pre-trade deadline.
And because it's pre-trade deadline, you're not stuck with whatever you do right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, a smart move from the Edmonton Oilers management.
Yeah. Not something you get to say very often.
Yeah. A rare smart move.
Now you get to say it often, yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. And again, it did really work out with Evander Kane. They kind of gave him a similar contract.
Evander Kane's getting more money than this.
Of course, because he proved himself. So let's see. This could be a great match for Corey Perry. So
yeah, I'm not expecting Corey Perry to be, top 6.
No, of course not. No, he's going to be on 3rd, 4th line. Yeah.
But if you have an injury, you could throw him in there for a game or two.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's proven that more than once. So
put him on the power play with McDavid. Put him right in front of the net.
Yeah.
It's great right in front of the net.
McDavid just makes everyone better. Who knows? Yeah.
So there's places they could use Corey Perry. If they decide not to, no harm.
Yeah, that's true.
Shall we get to the big story?
Yeah, the unfortunate one.
Yeah, it's no fun to talk about, but
kind of needs to be addressed.
It's important and we got to cover it.
Yeah.
So let's start from quick recap. If you're not aware of this story at all, in 2018, the World Juniors Team Canada team had an accusation of sexual assault. The victim said several players, I think she said 8, had been involved.
Mm.
This was closed in 2019, but was then reopened in July of 2022 and has been under investigation since then. The NHL did an investigation, which it did not release findings from, but said, hey, we have looked into it and we kind of know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So we can assume that NHL teams kind of knew what was happening.
Yeah.
They were waiting for the London, Ontario police to do their investigation.
Yes.
So as of January 24th, the London police have given 5 players a set period of time to present themselves at police headquarters. And they did not name any specific names that were involved.
Yeah.
However, 5 NHL players have asked,
like today or the past
within the past couple of days, mostly today.
Yeah.
Have asked for personal leaves of absence and have not given details further than that.
Yeah.
So putting 2 and 2 together, it seems
it's
like
not looking great for these guys. Yeah.
Actually, I should say 4 NHL players. The 5th one was playing in
Swiss
Europe.
League. Yeah.
So these 5 were Michael McLeod of the New Jersey Devils, who requested leave on January 24th. Cal Foote of the New Jersey Devils, who requested leave on Jan 24th. Carter Hart of the Philadelphia Flyers, who requested leave on Jan 23rd. Alex Formerton of HC Ambry Piotta in the Swiss League, who requested leave on Jan 24th. And Dylan Dubé of the Calgary Flames, who requested leave on Jan 21st. It should be important to mention that while the rest said it was just for personal reasons, Dylan Dubé said it was a mental health thing. And didn't give more details beyond that. But the timing is
uncanny,
and all 5 of these players were on that team.
Yeah,
the World Junior 2018 Team Canada.
Yeah, I'm not trying to jump to assumptions, but it's not looking good.
It's not looking good
at all.
A couple other related things here. The Philadelphia Flyers did try to move Carter Hart this offseason, but could not find any buyers, which is...
I didn't know that, actually. Was that performance-based or because they knew something about...
So it seems now, in hindsight, that because the NHL had done their investigation, and it seems like the GMs knew that this is a potential time bomb. Because let's be real, Carter Hart is a decent goalie. He's only 24 years old.
Yeah.
If they wanted to move him, they could have found someone. We spent a lot of summer talking about how many teams need a goalie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The other one was Alex Formerton, who last played in the NHL in the 21-22 season, put up 32 points in 79 games, which is not bad for a young player.
Yeah.
But was terminated by the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
Which also seems suspect.
Yeah.
And now seems like, okay, teams knew.
Yeah.
The London, Ontario Police will now hold a press conference on February 5th to give official updates.
Yeah.
So as of now, we are relying on NHL reporters, namely Mr. Rick Westhead,
of course,
who and Katie Strang as well, who were headlining the Kyle Beach case, and are pretty involved in this one as well.
Yeah, man, initial thoughts is that one, I'm glad justice is hopefully being served. We'll find out on February 5th. But 2, why does this keep happening in hockey? Well, I guess it happens across a lot of sports, but it feels like this is not the first time we're even talking about this on the podcast.
This show focuses on hockey, but I think a lot of the discussion has been just how we treat young future athletes.
Yeah.
Particularly ones that are going to be stars. You know? And, how they are made to feel like anything they do will be pushed under the rug. And this was 2018 was how many years ago now?
Yeah. Like
6? I can't do math. 6? Yeah.
6, but it was closed in 2019. So I'm sure a lot of them they shelved it themselves, right?
Until 2022.
Yeah.
They've never thought about it.
Yeah. Which is shocking that I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to put words out there. Obviously there's a whole innocent until proven guilty case, but it's not looking good for them. I'm just going to be straight up. It's not looking good for them. And I don't know. It's just a gross kind of feeling just sitting with me with this.
And so imagine if you owned a Carter Hart or a Cal Foote or a Michael McLeod jersey.
There's plenty of people that own Carter Hart jerseys.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say he's a fan favorite, but
I'd say he's a fan favorite.
You think?
I think the starting goalie on every team is a fan favorite.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, again, like kind of what you said, it's, I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with this. Assuming that they are convicted guilty. But
I mean, that's a big assumption right now.
Yeah, it's a huge assumption right now. But it's also like, these are all relatively young guys who have not just thrown their careers away, their lives are kind of screwed up at this point. And I mean, like, they did it to themselves. I can't really show any empathy towards them, assuming they are convicted of it. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like,
and at some point, it's just going to become about money, right? Like, okay, let's say the teams that these players are on don't want them anymore. Then there's, okay, do we just pay out their contract? All those things. Did they violate some clause in their contract to make it null? Yeah. That all will show up at some point, and hopefully as we learn more, that's what we can talk about. Yeah. But
it is a little fresh right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And right now, the big news is that we have actual leads on who these players are. Yeah. Because since 2022, there's been almost no news on this. Yeah. Which means any team that had a player that was on the 2018 Team Canada.
There was still speculation until basically this news dropped that Cale Makar had done it, and like Cale Makar won the Conn Smythe with the Avalanche when they won the Cup in 22. Imagine what that would have done to everyone's expectations of NHL players. Yeah. Cale Makar also being, a fan favorite in Colorado.
And the other one I heard a lot was Max Comtois in Anaheim.
I think Jordan Kyrou was also another one.
Yeah, so like that team was big. A lot of them made the NHL. A lot of them have been in the NHL for 6 years.
Yeah, a lot of them are stars now too.
Yeah, so having at least some direction, I think, is the big news here.
To go from that entire team down to 5 is huge. It's very notable. And again, we can't really assume anything until February 5th. But it's not really, you don't really just get called to the London, Ontario police for something you didn't do. I don't know. Yeah. So,
I mean, we'll have to wait for more news and hopefully a trial to have more come out of that.
Yeah. But hopefully regardless of what happens, hopefully, the victim has their justice kind of served. Yeah. And, just kind of, they feel better about the whole situation, whoever she may be. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
But what you were saying about, the culture problem in sports and hockey, like, we have to do better to teaching youth in Canada and the US, which is where we are. Yeah. At least of...
That this is not okay. Just basic, decent human...
Yes, it's not okay, but I feel stupid saying that because do I have to say that?
Yeah, human decency at its finest. Yeah, I was like, I can't believe that we're talking about this instead of arguing about jersey striping. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather argue about jersey striping than
we have the All-Star game next week. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah. So
I'd rather talk about the All-Star game, but like, it's just another letdown. Kyle Beach was one thing, and this is 8 years later.
Yeah,
it's just
it's in the same decade it happened. Yeah, it's really like unfortunate.
And these are just the ones we know about.
Yeah, there's probably at this point I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer to hundreds. Just not even in the NHL, just in the sport of hockey. Yeah, that's just not being reported.
Yeah, and just following comments on this online and stuff. I'm hearing things like, oh, it's not hockey, it's society in general, or, it's sports in general. I'm like, okay, great, but we are fans of hockey. Yeah. Why can't hockey focus on itself and making itself a safe space? Yeah.
It's almost like a gold star response, like, oh, good job. It's not hockey, it's society. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, that does nothing.
Okay, like if the NBA has this problems, the NHL still has this problem. Yeah. The NBA having this problem too doesn't solve you from anything.
Two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I know Hockey Canada has been gutted to the bones and started building up again. Yeah. But it happened in Canada this time, but like, I hope USA Hockey takes notice. Yeah. And
just every league around the world. Yeah.
The NHL does better. Yeah. And like,
and even like it starts in, youth hockey in high school and all of that, just being taught to be a respectful human being. Yeah. Yeah, again, it feels silly saying it out loud, but almost necessary at this point, it feels like.
Yeah, like, I don't know what more to say. I'm just sad.
Yeah, it's just, it's almost disheartening because it's like, man, we're talking about this again. Yeah. And we just talked about it with Kyle Beach, and it's unfortunate. And one last thing I wanted to add is I was reading about how, I believe it was Cale Makar was kind of cooperating with the investigation because his name was, one of them that was brought up before he was cleared. Yeah. And he did mention a very good point where he was saying like, there's tuitions that need to be paid. And now it was uncovered that, a lot of the tuition money was kind of being used to pay off settlements and stuff like that. And then, as a parent, you're just like...
Sorry, just to clarify, by tuition, you mean the fees that players pay to be part of Hockey Canada?
Yes, essentially, yeah. And when you're a parent, and like obviously these are kids, like they're not making NHL money yet, but as a parent, you're just like, damn, that's where my money's going.
That was the huge thing, right?
It's just, oh god,
and like forget like these kids. There's so many kids who never sniff the NHL, right? They play hockey because they love to play hockey. Yeah, and you find out the money you've been putting into your kids' hobby essentially
is going to
this
shit like this. Yeah,
and hockey enrollment numbers are going down.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been great in the States, but it's going down even in Canada.
It's not just about the expensive equipment. Don't give me that.
Yeah, like all the time and effort you do to get on the ice. Like hockey games, if you're not playing the NHL, the ice is usually available at like either really early in the morning or really late at night, right? Like you worked for a college hockey team for a bit. Didn't your game start at like 10 p.m.?
Some of them, yeah. Especially like the ones in like the Los Angeles, like the larger cities, basically.
Yeah.
Those games started late, and the practices started at 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Or they would start at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So
super. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing all of that. You're putting in all this money into equipment and lessons and ice time, even outside of practice and games.
Equipment maintenance, like sharpening your skates and stuff like that.
Coaches.
Yeah.
And then you're paying fees to be part of these teams and go on these travel and all this time, and then you're paying probably medical fees because let's face it, hockey's a rough game.
Yeah.
You're going to get
injuries
injured.
Happen, yeah.
And then you find out that all, or at least a portion of that money you're spent is being used to cover up things like this.
Yeah. It's, oh, God.
And like 99.99% of those players in these organizations are not going to make NHL money.
No.
This is a thing they do for fun. They do it because they enjoy it. They're probably playing the beer league that's local to you now, Yeah. And this is because they just like the game.
Yeah.
And I've said it so many times on this podcast that we all love the sport of hockey, but it's things like this and the organizations that run it, whether it's the NHL or others, that eat away at that passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's greatest sport in the world, but man, what a huge culture problem this sport has. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what more to say.
No, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll find out. We just kind of have to keep an eye out on it and see what the London police will say. Again, by February 5th, but
February 5th is right after All-Star weekend. So
yeah, it's going to be it's going to be very interesting. So.
Yeah. I want to say enjoy All-Star weekend, but now there's a sword hanging over it.
Everyone's going to be anxiously waiting for this. And, if there's anything I hope to see, it's besides, the victim getting justice, I hope to see the NHL taking accountability. And maybe, obviously, they're restricted in how detailed they can post about it.
Yeah.
But at least somewhat address it, even if it's indirectly in a social media post.
I mean, they've been okay about that. Right now, anytime anyone's asked them, they said, we have to wait for the police. You have to wait for the police. They're kind of just pushing it toward the London police.
I mean more so after the trial.
Okay.
Yeah. So once there's conclusive evidence, that's where I would like to see the league kind of show some accountability. Mm-hmm. If you want to change the culture problem, it starts with the league and from within. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Yeah. Sorry for the dark episode.
Yeah. We'll try and get to all that news after the 5th, whenever we have that show.
Yeah.
So you can keep it tuned here to Glass Seats. Mm-hmm. We're out every week. We're on Spotify, Apple, and Google. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram. For those last two platforms, at Spud Network Podcast is the handle. You can check out this show. You can check out our other shows. See you next week.
Bye.